Okay, buddy. We are here today with Professor Elias and with JB, and we're at the studio. These guys have been great about inviting me back in to do some training with them, and I really appreciate you guys staying on me. You know, as you know, I do a very stringent daily physical fitness routine, but this is something that, in my opinion, is extremely important to have in your arsenal. There'll be a lot of situations where you can't always go for that tool, and you get into a hand-to-hand situation, and that's not even an option for you, especially if you get taken to the ground or find yourself in a compromising position. So I believe this is an extremely a mandatory skill to have, and I wanted to ask Professor Elias about your training regimen, and JB about your thoughts. You've been doing this now for what, a couple of years?
Yeah, JB's been training with us for a couple of years now, and I've been training for 17 years, and I think it's a good point what you were saying about just being able to defend yourself. Even if your intent is not to go hands-on with somebody, and your intent is like, man, I have a tool, I have something that I can use to help me defend myself. What if you can't get to that tool? JB talks a lot about, and I know he probably talks with Matt as well, about how, what if you can't get to that tool? What are you gonna do then? I think you have to have extra things that you put inside of your, imagine like this being like your physical diet, right? Like there's so many things that we do in our diet as far as like trying to eat well and different things like that that we put into our body, especially internally. We should be thinking about external too, trying to add things to our diet. It's not food, right? But it's still stuff that your body needs, right? Your body needs things to protect it, not just the medicine that you take to help you when you're sick, but also the medicine you need to take to help you when there's a person that wants to hurt you. So
I agree 100%. You have to have a fallback plan. This is not the movies, this isn't TV. If you don't know how to grapple and you're carrying a pew-pew every day, you're asking for big trouble. You have to think about the situation that if somebody gets on top of you, somebody grabs you, you can't get to that tool, what are you gonna do? If you get knocked to the ground and you have a 200+ pound human being on top of you and you're carrying at 4 or 5 o'clock or even appendix and you can't get to it, what are you going to do? If you don't know how to grapple, ladies and gentlemen, and you're carrying a tool daily, you're asking for big trouble. This is the real world. This isn't Hollywood. This isn't the movies. At some point, you're gonna have to, to get to that tool, you may have to create space. And if somebody's 250 pounds on top of you and you're carrying here or 4 or 5 o'clock, how are you gonna create that space if you don't know how to grapple? You have to have these skill sets. You have to think about worst case scenario. It's not like, oh, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna draw my pew-pew and it's over. It doesn't work like that.
I can't tell you how many times I've had people say like that will use as an excuse on why they won't train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah. Like I would just shoot the person.
Right, that's what they say. Jiu-Jitsu is not gonna do anything. First off, what if you're not going to use lethal force? Maybe somebody's on drugs or they're drunk or it just doesn't require lethal force. But then what if it does require lethal force and you can't get to that weapon and you don't know how to grapple? You're going to be in big trouble. And then what happens if somebody takes that tool from you and uses it against you? So these are all things that we train on a daily basis. It's not about just being at the range and being proficient with a pew-pew. It's about being proficient in being able to get to it and creating distance if you need to. So very, very important, because yes, I've seen those comments too that I would just do that, I would just do this. You'll be in court, you'll probably go to prison for using lethal force. And again, many times it doesn't not require lethal force. Maybe you just want to get away, get to your car, run, whatever the case may be. But if it doesn't require lethal force and you have a tool on you, what are you going to do? And then again, what if they try to get it from you? Everything changes, the dynamics change. I think it's so important to have grappling skills if you carry daily. Matt.
Guys, I received a comment on one of the videos the other day. Some guy said, well, the first 12% of the video, or 12% of the video was dedicated towards me speaking about physical fitness and exercise. And the comment was something about he stopped watching. And what do you think? What would you say to those people, gentlemen?
Well, I'm going to say this. Here's 50% of this video will probably go to that comment. This person is an idiot. This person's probably sitting on a couch eating a box of Twinkies right now as we make this video. Fitness is so important. It's more important than physical wealth. Physical fitness is more important than physical wealth. What's the point of having physical wealth if you're not healthy? Now, I'm not going to take up the whole show here, but just going back to what happened in Israel on Saturday at the music festival, an atrocity that took place right before our very eyes. All of you've seen it. Now, to that gentleman sitting on the couch having a box of Twinkies today, and I don't mean this to be critical or judgmental, but these are typically the type of people who don't know how to fight, sit on the couch all day, like to Monday morning quarterback everything. Looking at what happened at that music festival, most people looked in pretty good shape. But think about when that comes to America, and it's here, it's just a matter of time. Do you think you stand a better chance of surviving if you're in shape, you can run, or you're out of shape, you can't do 5 push-ups, you can't run 100 yards without going into cardiac arrest, you can't fight? Who stands a better chance? These people looked in pretty good shape, and many of them unfortunately lost their life. What's the guy gonna do that's 50 pounds, 80 pounds, 150 pounds overweight who can't fight? You're not gonna win this battle by eating a box of Twinkies. You're not gonna win this battle sitting on the couch. So to the people out there, again, I don't wanna criticize or be judgmental. It's not what this is about. I feel sorry for you. I want you off the couch. I want you in here training. I want you at the range getting proficient, learning how to use these tools and learning how to survive. But to think that physical fitness does not matter, I think it's the most important thing next to God and security. These are things that are going to keep you alive. So I hope, Matt, that you continue to talk about physical fitness and why it's so important, because these are the people who are not going to survive an economic downturn. They're not going to survive a social disruption on the streets of America. And they're certainly not going to survive the terrorism that we're seeing play out globally now that is here in America. It's a matter of time before it happens. So you can be one of two people: trained and in shape, or the other people who are untrained and out of shape. Take your pick. That's how I see it.
Well, that's a good point, JB. I'm going to keep harping on this every day on the show. I think it's really important. And I'll say this to Elias. I work out, like I said, pretty rigorously every day, and I'm in here for 5, 7, 10 minutes, and I'm pouring sweat. Yeah. It's a different kind of exercise. It's a different kind of physical fitness, and you have to be in tremendous. It definitely helps your cardiovascular conditioning.
Yeah, and speaking about the physical aspect, I think I was going to talk a little bit about your show and how someone's mentioning about what's talked about as being physical, and I was actually pretty impressed by how physical both you and JB are. You guys both keep yourself in really good shape, and I think it's important. JB always talks about, and I know Matt, he talks with you about, I know you talk about it as well, about who you want to be friends with, who you want to be, who you want to keep close to you. I've been doing projects with JB for going into 2 years now, and now we're starting with Matt as well. And it doesn't surprise me that he's in great physical shape because he's a friend of JB and vice versa, right? So, when you think about not talking, or if you listen to people who say don't talk so much about physical, think about whether you want that person as your friend. Because is that person going to be the person you want by your side when things go off, right?
That's a great point.
Just kind of thinking more into detail.
That's a great point. I know if something happens, these two people next to me are going to have my back. And so you don't want to be with people who are going to look for the exits and just run.
Well, can you run 50 yards? Yeah. Can you run 100 yards if you have to?
Right. If you can't pay attention for 12 minutes for a video talking about physical, yeah. I don't know, man. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I hope you, like JB said, man, I think it's great that you're here and really impressed in the shape that you're in right now, and can't wait to help you feel comfortable and know that you'll have extra tools to add to the things that you need to add to make sure you protect yourself in worst case scenario.
Appreciate that. It's called putting layers on layers, guys. You can't be too prepared.
Yeah, you gotta look at your situation and look at what can you do to be better, to be stronger. What are the weak links that you have right now in your life? It could be alcohol, it could be drug addiction, it could be eating, it could be a lot of things. And these weak links have to be dealt with because we're heading into very, very hard times, ladies and gentlemen, and you don't want to be heading into hard times with addictions and weak links. This is the time right now to deal with them. And it may be painful, but this is the time to deal with it. And you're never going to get good at anything without feeling some pain. And that's why I worry so much about this country, is because people are not used to pain. We've had it good for so long. We've never gone through a Great Depression. We've never seen war on U.S. soil. Maybe Pearl Harbor would be one example, but what Israel just saw, we've never seen anything like that, where people just dropping in with parachutes. And we're soft, we're unprepared, we're out of shape, and people just don't know what real pain is. And I'll tell you, I feel a lot of pain when I come here all the time, whether it's a class or privates or whatever. But the pain is testing you. It's making you stronger, and it's presenting challenges to you. It's making you think under pressure, and it's just building structure in your life. And there's so many people who have no structure, no foundation. How are they going to deal with this when these bad times hit America? And we're starting to see the bad times hit right now financially. Wait till things break out.
I think it goes back to just like, I talk about, I have kids, and I talk about sheltering my kids and wanting to try to keep them from being able to see all of the bad in the world. And I think that's what America, I mean, say who you want in America is doing to the people right now. I think the media is sheltering us and making us believe that everything's okay. And like I know Matt is going to talk about gold and how he's never seen gold since like 2000, or has never seen gold, the cost they are. I mean, open your eyes, look at the things, don't be sheltered. Don't let people shelter you. Go out there and see what you want to see. I know this is kind of going into a different subject, but look at all the financial markets. Look at the things look at your grocery store. Look at the cost of what you pay for a 2-pound steak at the store that you would have paid, and remember what you would have paid for it 2 years ago. And like Matt, I know you have a lot of interesting ideas on the financials, and you had some notes that you had took down. But
I do, but just going back to people aren't used to training for adversity. They're not being used to being put in uncomfortable situations like you guys both just said. And I'll tell you, it's amazing here to realize how fast, with a guy of your skill level, a guy like me, can find yourself in really a position that there's no way to get out of, and how quickly a guy that has skills, and some moves could literally make you unconscious.
Let me ask
and you're in great shape. You're in great shape, but still, even with you being in great shape, if you
could you access your tool with this guy on top of you?
No.
So
no way.
What good is the tool now if you can't access it?
And that's about a second and a half or less that he can get in that position. So, I appreciate you guys coming on the show today, giving your thoughts. It means a lot to me, and I'm going to look forward to continue to train here. Just in closing, I do want to ask JB. Gold's up. We have a lot going on in the world right now. It's the 13th. It's this day of rage that we've been hearing about.
Friday the 13th.
Everybody's on. It's also Friday the 13th. Everyone across the country is on high alert. There's warnings out everywhere. Last I checked, gold was up about $60. Silver's up over 4% today. So we do talk about the benefit of owning precious metals. Obviously, in times of uncertainty, as part of your preparedness plan. Any thoughts on that, Jeremiah?
First off, I don't know if I ever remember a time where I saw gold over $60 in a day. Maybe a while back. Maybe one time, but I could be wrong about that. It's $62 today right now as we make this video. I don't remember the last time, but it is definitely warning us of something. This whole day of rage, I'm glad we're here with our own rage here today training. I'm not gonna allow it to change my life. I carry everywhere I go. I've upped my security at the properties. And this is what we've prepared for many, many years. So, it is alarming. And now that we're touching, more on the physical asset or financial asset here, but really quick, it is alarming to see those pictures of parachutes dropping into that music festival or into Israel like we saw a few days ago. It was literally out of the movie Red Dawn. If you haven't seen Red Dawn, go watch the original one from, I believe it was 1984, how it started with parachutes.
And supposedly one of the most secure borders in the world.
Yes. Yeah. So if they're that susceptible, think about how many people...
Which we claim we are,
right? But yet, their borders are shut. We've allowed millions over decades to come in here, and so we have no idea who's here, what's here, and what could happen. But getting back to the asset side of this, or the financial side of this, gold is definitely warning us of something. And somebody wrote me on my show last week and said, "Oh, JB, you've given misinformation. You got your viewers to buy gold, and now it's going down. I've lost all my money in gold." And I just said to that person, "You have very, very soft, delicate little hands, don't you?" But here we are today, where gold's back up above $60 in a day, and what people like this who probably don't even really own gold, they just want to start, trolling, and that's fine. I own gold not because I'm a day trader and I hope it goes up tomorrow or in 3 days from now. I own gold for these kind of situations, these kind of scenarios where people are beginning to start terrorism throughout the globe. There's uncertainty, there's concern, there's fear, and when this begins to affect the manipulated stock market, I don't think you want to be holding paper, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we hold gold, and this is why I've been buying gold for 10 years, and I will continue to buy gold as long as I can afford to buy it. But to these people out here who believe it's supposed to go up every week, it's not for that. It is for insurance. It is for wealth preservation. It is for emergencies like the ones we're seeing right now. And by the way, if you look at gold, has broken all-time highs across the world, except for America, which of course it is in competition with the US dollar. So we do everything here to suppress it. But at some point they will lose control of the dollar. They're going to lose control of these markets. And we're going to see massive inflation. Inflation, as we were notified yesterday, is continuing to go up. And we don't even know what the real inflation numbers are. But as Elias said here, go to the grocery store, go to the gas station, and I watched a video yesterday. A guy's literally showing prices at Costco. Some of the items he bought last year are up over 100%. This year, many are up 10, 20, 30%, but he would show 2-3 items that were up over 100%. So to think that we're at 3.7%, you are drinking the Kool-Aid, ladies and gentlemen. But you gotta be protecting yourself, not just physically, but you better be protecting yourself financially. And another big worry I have is millions of people, it's already too late for. They did not start this 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago. And now they don't have a job. The inflation's killing them. They have no savings. They're 100% reliant on credit cards. And how do these people now survive what's coming? I don't know.
Okay, but up to that point, it's better to start today than not start, and do what you can. If you have to take baby steps, allocate some, money to some extra food supplies, some extra water, start getting your security in order. It's amazing, obviously, what's happening. And, and the prices are going up. We did a show about a year ago, remember, at Walmart, and I was talking about, food preps and what I had paid in the years earlier for some of those items I have, and those are all way higher now. And this is only like maybe 8 months or a year ago. So think about it. You've got to acquire it, and it's going to keep going up in price.
I would say definitely, if you have the means to do this, absolutely. I just feel sorry for the people who've already lost their jobs, wiped out their savings, wiped out their retirements, and they're living on credit cards now. There's people watching this video today that are probably now looking at the potential of being homeless. It's going to be very, very hard and difficult for millions of people now to save themselves. And this is why for years I've been sounding the alarm that people, take the time, make the sacrifice, cut out the weekend trips, cut out the weekend bars and the restaurants. People didn't want to listen. And now you look at the homeless crisis here in America, and we're in the epicenter of it here right now. There's a lot of people that had normal jobs, people who had homes, they're losing it. I can tell you right now, in the desert, there are RVs popping up all over the middle of the desert that people are living in now because they lost their homes. Professor.
Yeah, I saw that. It's funny you say that. As I was traveling last weekend, and I was driving over to Los Angeles, and on the way there, we went through a restaurant in Yucca Valley, and we saw several trailers in the middle of the desert. And I thought they would be like old trailers, and I thought maybe those are just run down. And I looked, as driving by them, they saw that they're actually in pretty good condition trailers. And there's people living. Oh, man.
Well, I can tell you.
Blew my mind, man.
I can tell you
what you're saying.
I can tell you right outside of Palm Springs, there are dilapidated trailers that they're actually towing in, and I don't know if people are renting them, if it's a van lord or what, but there is one community that has over 20 trailers, and they're towing them in, and people are living out there in the middle of nowhere. So I don't like the direction this is all going in, but it's no shock. We've been talking about it for years. People used to laugh and just thought it was just fear, and it's not. Now it's reality, and those same people now are actually very, very worried because they've been wiped out. And the question is, how much worse does this get? How long does it last?
Guys, we'll leave it there, I suppose, for today. I know everyone's got to get on with their days. I have to get to the office and get some work done. So have a great weekend, and all of you guys stay safe. Appreciate you watching the channel, and have a great weekend.
God bless.
See you later.
Ox Talks is signing off.